Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Peter here. Today's video is commodity. While I was away in Dubai, they very kindly sent me samples to try out. So I have two box sets we're going to go through. We've got the Platinum Collection, which includes Tonka, Leather, Bergamot, Orris and Vetiver. And we've got the White Collection, which contains Gold, Rain, Mimosa, Tea and Magnolia. I've not smelled any of these yet. We're going to do first impressions. We'll start off with the White Collection and go top to bottom. The presentation's nice. I like the presentation. Simple, minimalist, very tasteful. So we'll start with Gold. This is nice. It's slightly sweet. I have no idea what any of the notes are for any of these, so I'm doing this first impression completely blind. It smells a little bit tonkery, kind of vanilla-y. It's a very smooth, not overly sweet, kind of creamy, soft vanilla Tonka. It's very light. Yeah, it's a very light, soft, delicate, more feminine fragrance. This is from the White Collection, so I'm presuming, I know they have the white and I think the black collection. This is the white, so I'm presuming these are all women's. It's very nice if you like very simplistic, you know, soft vanilla fragrance, very easy to wear. Very likable if you're a fan of vanilla, but it is very simplistic but pretty. Next one is Rain. So this is definitely, there's some effervescent, light, zesty citrus. There's a noticeable floral note and an obvious kind of wateriness. It's got fluidity to it. It smells watery. Almost reminds me of something along the lines of Issey Miyake, the original one for men. I've never smelled any with the women's versions of that, but this would, to me, feel like if maybe the women's version of an Issey Miyake style fragrance, it might smell very much like this. This to me smells feminine and more of a spring and summer, very light and easy to wear. Next one is Mimosa. It's soft, it's floral. You obviously get the mimosa. A hint of sweetness without being too sweet. It smells very clean and elegant. I think mimosa is quite a nice floral. It feels like maybe there's a hint of citrus or something lighter mixed with the floral. And again, almost smells watery and summery and spring-like and refreshing. I like that more than Rain. I think that would smell really good on a woman in the spring. Spring and summer, very, very pretty actually. That's my favourite one so far. Next up is Tea. Tea is typically not a note I gravitate towards in fragrances, so this will be interesting to see how tea-y it is. That's actually quite nice. Okay, this is a bit unusual. It's definitely not a tea that British people would consider a tea. It's more like maybe a flavoured tea or a herbal tea. It smells floral and citrusy, zesty, almost like a lemon tea or some kind of a mixture of like a citrus tea with floral elements. So the name could be a little bit misleading. It's not a tea as what we would typically think of as tea. It's more flavoured, floral. Yeah, it's zesty, it's tangy, and again kind of watery. This one personally is not my taste. That's definitely one you have to try on your skin. My personal favourite is still the Mimosa. Lastly from this collection is Magnolia. This one is pretty, but it's very light. It's smooth, it smells like a clean, fresh garden after the rain in the morning, in the springtime. Kind of soft, dewy, white petals. That's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of being in a garden, early morning with dew on the petals. Very pretty, kind of a country garden image. Pretty. I still prefer the Mimosa. I think Mimosa is definitely my favourite. My definite favourite from this line, personally, for my taste, in terms of a man appreciating a perfume on a woman, I would say for me Mimosa is very pretty. Gold is nice as well. Next up is the Platinum collection in this lovely box here. So we will go top to bottom, starting with Tonka. This strikes me immediately as being feminine. You definitely get the Tonka, but it's powdery, it's soft. It reminds me of talcum powder. Imagine a sweet talcum powder, exactly what this smells of. It's pretty, it's nice, it's very simple, and I would say, you know, kind of one-dimensional. It's Tonka scented talcum powder. Next up is leather. This is interesting. It smells like brown leather, almost slightly rugged, ever so slightly charred or dirty kind of leather, but not overly. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of a soft, battered, worn-in leather jacket, maybe that's been a little bit too close to a fire. I'd say if you're a fan of Lone Star Memories by Andy Tauer, you might like this one. It's a similar vein. Rugged, brown leather, as the name suggests. Next up is Bergamot. So, you know, this is going to be zesty and citrusy. Very refreshing, very summery, reminiscent of some of the Atelier colognes. This feels like a mix. It doesn't feel like it's just bergamot. It's summer citrus fruits, it's refreshing, it's invigorating. Depending on how you feel about, I would say, lemon and bergamot, and these things can tend to smell a little bit like cleaning products to some people. This might go a similar way if your brain is wired that way, but otherwise it's a refreshing summer scent. Very simple, there's not much to say other than it smells of summer citrus fruits, bergamot, lemon, and it's refreshing and zingy. Next up is Orris. So we can imagine this is going to be quite powdery and soft. This is a very distinctive smell. I might be wrong, but it reminds me of the characteristics or the smell of alpha ionone, which is a synthetic form of iris, and iron alpha, which is a more expensive version, more designed around Orris rather than iris. This one is very soft. It would be nicer if it was a bit thicker and more to it. It feels quite light. When I reviewed, I think, Lonesome Rider by Andy Tauer, that was a retake on his older classic Lone Star Memories, but he introduced a note of iris or Orris to the composition and slightly changed things a little bit. I recognise that particular note of iris, or at least I think I do. I might be completely wrong. For me, I thought it was iron alpha. It's a synthetic, it's an expensive synthetic, it's not cheap to buy. It's one of the higher quality synthetics, but it's an interpretation of Orris It's powdery, it has slight kind of raspberry nuances, it's thick, it's a nice iris note. There's also a different kind of iris that's a lot cheaper to buy, that's very commonly used, called alpha ionone, which I also have. This has more of a violet nuance, it's lighter, it's not as thick, it's more distinct. In the opening of this, I definitely think I get the cheaper one, the alpha ionone, but then give it a few seconds and it becomes thicker and more powdery, which I feel could be the iron alpha. So I think this is a combination of different Orris synthetics, because it feels like it has elements of different ones in there. It's not just kind of one thing, I think it's a combination. So if you're a fan of genuine real Orris, this probably isn't going to satisfy you. It is very light and a little bit one-dimensional and soft on the skin, so like I say, if you're a fan of genuine real, the smell of real Orris, then this isn't going to quite scratch the itch. Lastly from this collection is Vetiver. Vetiver is actually a note that I'm not hugely fond of. The only fragrance that I've really enjoyed that has Vetiver is by Matriarch, called Madrona. Okay. This is mixed with some lighter elements, it's cleaner, think more along the lines of Tom Ford's Grey Vetiver or those kind of lighter fragrances. This is not a dirty, rooty Vetiver, this is cleaned up, there's lighter elements in here. This one's definitely more masculine, clean edge, modern. I can see this being more of a compliment getter and a more mass appealing kind of scent. But then this has to compete with some well-known Vetiver fragrances. I'm not sure you would pick this one over some of the obvious Vetiver marketed fragrances in the market. This one might not stand out to you, but it's light, it's cleaner. From the two collections, personally, for me, for my own taste, there isn't one that I would purchase myself. That's my first impressions for the two box sets. I will review fully individual ones. I will try and pick some of my favourite ones from the collection, or the ones that I thought were the nicest. And yeah, if you want me to review any specific ones, let me know in the comments below. See you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.